We finally have very definitive, the final word, you could say, on 5G, i.e., it's not going to happen. Direct from Jim Lee himself, revealed at at the big event here that's going on this weekend. So, let's talk about that. Hey everybody, this is Perch. DC FanDome is going on, and I posted news just like a couple hours ago. I've been getting a number of emails from some folks at DC and just DM, just other things, and kind of all swirling. I suspect at least the statement that was pre-recorded, people knew it was going to come out and it was going to be final, because I'm not the guy that people give big scoops to. I tend to get little not hints, but just kind of, hey, we're kind of doing this, we're kind of leaning in this direction. I don't, in fairness, if you're coming to this channel for like rumors and that kind of stuff, I'm never going to have those because I don't ask. I actually, the people I do talk to within comics, I don't ever go, hey, can you tell me what's going on over here? I don't know. I don't expect anybody to vouch for me, but that's just not my style. It's their business. I like to talk to people. I'm not trying to dig information out of them. But I'd heard a lot, and it was in the last video, that you were going to see not this, it was really looking like not a big reboot. Death metal ends. We weren't going to see everything renumbered at number one. You weren't going to see this big kind of shift. And then 5G itself was nonsense in a lot of cases. And so sure enough, just, an hour or two later, we get Jim Lee, who basically directly answers the question and says there will not be a project called 5G or a big reboot or whatever. We really want to focus on individual titles and organically build up individual characters over the course of next year, which aligns completely both with what I've been hearing, what I've been talking about on the channel for the last couple months, and it just all falls into place. This is not me patting myself on the back, more just like, hey, maybe some of these rumor sites that drive money off clicks, we're driving money off clicks. Weirdly, Newsarama picked up on his comments, but nothing from Bleeding Pool. Curious. Anyway, Jim Lee notes, we had a lot of great ideas that were floating around, and rather than dumping it all in 1 month and renumbering the line and going for that really short-term spike in sales, we just naturally gravitated to the story ideas and concepts we love and building them into the mythology, the ongoing mythology, in a very organic way. I.e., like building a brand. It's like, hey, rather than hot-shotting everything into a temporary sales bump, we're actually going to feed it into the stories. Who knew? What crazy ideas that are going on here. Lee then goes on to basically double down with it, saying if you're waiting for 5G, you're going to have to wait a long time because it's not going to happen. But if you're waiting for big developments at DC Universe, pretty big ones in 2020 across the board. But again, it's spread out and approached organically when it makes sense within a particular title, so not everything has to tie into a big epic event all at once. Smart, honestly. And Jim Lee, there are some other kind of comments around it, basically saying that like a lot of the speculation and the kind of the rumors and things being printed were nonsense, which was consistently what we were hearing. There was a lot of backtracking and but I heard kind of stuff. Maybe now that some of these leakers like Andy Corey and others are gone from DC, maybe we'll get less speculation, or maybe the people will just invent more. Who knows? But I think that what else, taking a step back, what does all this mean? It means that DC is basically going to enter into 2021. They've got a lot of different products, a lot of different properties. It sounds like they're not going to try and cross them all over, tightly at once. They're going to have things kind of out of continuity. They're not going to let that run the show as much anymore. And they're going to work on creating, fairly organic stories, fairly iconic stories that generates IP for the people who pay the bills, AT&T and Warner Media. Now, when I say things like this, and even in the videos earlier, people came in and they're like, but the SJWs are there. It's going to go full on woke. I think people with that take, and I know there's a bunch of YouTubers and others that have that take. I think I'll just be honest. It feels like a lot of that stuff is living rent-free in people's heads. I think that some of the stories will be good. I think some of the stories will be crap. just like it has been and has always been. I don't think you're going to see the entire DC line tilt toward social justice, nor are you going to see the entire DC line tilt toward whatever the opposite of that is. You're just going to see stories come out. Some will be good, some will be awful. They're going to try. I think that the thing you will see a lot in 2021, which would be interesting to see the fan reaction to, is you're going to see a much heavier push to try and find comics that are going to work in other regions, meaning not the U.S. I think you're going to see a definite attempt to crack Asia and Europe, and I think there's going to be this goal of building the brand globally. And I think there's going to be probably some efforts that will really succeed in that area, and probably they're going to be like super cringy. I just, you're going to see a little bit of everything. I don't believe that DC still has any kind of real idea of how to market to different age groups properly. They do have the Young DC line, they have the DC Girls, they have kind of these different areas, but it still feels like the successes they've had there have been more accidental than purposeful. And I think you're going to continue to see things kind of stumble around while they find their way. And I think that will extend all the way through 2021 and probably beyond. You're going to see smaller comics, and I think the comics that they print, they're going to try and make count. Is Mark Waid going to show up at DC? Yeah, he's going to write some stuff for DC. Is Mags Visaggio going to write some stuff for DC? Yeah, she's going to write some stuff for DC. I have my doubts. I think Mark Waid is a little bit more of a possibility, but I have my doubts either of these two are going to be on a big ongoing title. I think you're going to see a much more, I don't mean this word in a political sense, a much more conservative approach to the writers that are on ongoing books. I think there's going to be a belief that these people need to turn in kind of stories that are going to be marketable and are going to sell. And I think there's going to be a little less experimentation with the ongoing books. I absolutely think you're going to get limited series and one-shots and other things out of some of these creators. Probably some that you like, probably some that you absolutely hate. I don't think any of that is an overall business strategy of going woke. And I think the comment that, there's one person makes a video and then 80 people make a video. The DC in 2021 is going to look like Marvel in 2017. No. There's no legitimate evidence to say that, other than a lot of circumstantial stuff around Twitter and social media and where some of the people play. But this is different. Keep in mind when I say different, that doesn't mean it'll be great. It could be worse. It absolutely could be worse. When you have a corporate controlled comic book company, that can go bad, like super bad. So it's not, we don't just live in a world of the comics are all woke or the comics are not woke. There's other things too, like the comics are soulless corporate marketing vehicles. There's lots of different universes here. We don't know which one we're going to get. But at any rate, at least we can say definitively 5G is done. A lot of the reporting that was going on with 5G was always incorrect. And there you have it. So for those of you who have been still following this 5G story, I think it's done now. I think we're over. So, are you happy? Are you sad? Either? Are you? And please bear in mind, for people who've been listening to this video up to this point, you may think I was taking some shots at you in particular. If you're particularly worried about DC, I am not. You can be worried. It's fine. Be worried, but just keep in mind that it is. There's more to good or bad than left-leaning politics and right-leaning politics. There's other factors in here, and I think that hiring one person or two people when you're publishing a line of comics of 40 or 50 it's not indicative of the entire line. It's nothing is so simple. The world didn't magically all change to a conservative party's dream when Andy Curry was fired. Nor did it tip into a socialist hellhole when Mags Visaggio was hired. It's not that simple. It never is. We'll see. The books will come out. You should read the good ones, the ones you like. You should not read the ones you don't like. That's it. That happy life. Leave me a comment below. Let me see what you're thinking. If you miss 5G, hate 5G, love 5G, wonder what 5G is, and you just want your cell phone to have better service, let me know in the comments below. Like, subscribe, downvote if you're just super pissed about this news. You just gotta fight the SJWs. Downvote, downvote, downvote. You can do that too. Although, I mean, I don't know. You're not really scoring points against me. You probably want to put your effort somewhere else. But what do I know? Hey, everybody, wherever you fall in all this, thanks for listening.